Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 55. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. I know I've been gone for quite some time. I would guess about close to 2 months. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm quite sure the last time I posted something was mid-September. But I apologize for that. I've been working on new content, as far as books go for next year. So, been working on a Woman's Worth series, and I'll delve into that way down the road. Anyway, today's Mondays with Mello, and I want to jump into it. Today, I want to talk about the moment I became a success. Now, success for me isn't defined by like how much money I've made off of all the content that I've created because, well, that's not reality. Money comes and goes. And, for me, this is about, changing the landscape of this world. So before we get started, I want to read a quote from J.K. Rowling, and it says, "Failure is so important. We speak about success all of the time, but it is the ability to resist or use failure that often leads to greater success." So that's a very good quote, and I try to follow that a little bit. So let's just jump into this. Now, I've accomplished a lot in my life, and the crazy thing is all of the accomplishments that I have, achieved, it really doesn't define me at all. Now, big accomplishments, we're talking like, graduating high school, graduating college, and I've worked for some of the biggest companies in the United States, let alone the world. And I'm not going to sit here and, name all the companies I've worked for throughout my life, but I will say that pretty much everywhere I've worked, they have been very well known, either in this country or in the world. But I will say that none of those jobs I've had even mattered, to be brutally honest. And, the one I have now, well, I'm not going to say it doesn't totally matter, but I will say that it doesn't fulfill me the way creating this content fulfills me. Now, people make a big deal when they see my resume, or I happen to talk about like past companies that I've worked for or whatever the case is, but I just don't care as much. I don't know why, but I will say corporate America is not for me. And I've been in corporate America for 23 years. I've been working since I was a very, very, very young teenager. So, when minimum wage was $5.15, and that had to last me for 2 weeks. And when living in New York City, and public transportation was, I think, $1 or $1.25 around that time, and now we're about at $3. But I'm not there anymore, so that's another story for itself. Now, I don't really fit into this whole corporate America thing, and it doesn't fit into my life, and it doesn't fit into my talents that I have, the gifts that I've been blessed with, and all the goals that I have for myself. So corporate America to me is really monotony. Like there's no change or anything like that, but in hindsight, it's pretty much the same routine for me every single day. Now, waking up at the same time and doing the same thing over and over again, it basically makes me a programmed robot. Thankfully, I only work 4 days a week, and I've been fortunate and blessed enough to have been able to do this for 5 years. And I won't go into the whole story about how I ended up being able to work 4 days a week, but I will say that I'm thankful for that because it allows me to create the content that I do. If I worked 5 days a week, it kind of shortens my weekend a little bit. So I get Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays off. And the majority of our holidays that we're off here in the States is on Mondays. So look at it like this. I get 4-day weekends. And now that I've been, at the company that I've been at for 5 years, I get an extra week off of vacation. So There are some benefits to it, but let's just say I look forward to the day that I wake up in the morning and I don't have to turn on a work computer. I get to turn on the career computer, which is my Chromebook, and really get to do the work that I want to do and impact people and things of that nature. Now, let's get to the part of me achieving my biggest success and accomplishment, right? Now, my biggest success and accomplishment in my life was writing and publishing my first book. And that was about 5.5 years ago. So The Struggles and Growth of a Man Part 1 was a game changer to my life. And it's when I realized my purpose in life. And it's to inspire, motivate, and empower others and to break people out of their societal standards and expectations. It's to get people to think about themselves, their lives, the environment they live in, and to stop their bad thinking habits. Now, with every book that is followed, that was more success for me. With every new book idea, that's success to me. With every person I reach and get to critically think about life, I've done my job. Now, some days I write and some days I don't. I don't put pressure on myself to do it as much anymore, which is why I very rarely get writer's block. My words just flow, and, I'm glad that my words can resonate with others. Now, sometimes I lose track of my successes and, forget that I'm impacting others. Now, there isn't going to be a defining moment to me that says I'm successful. For me, it started the moment I brainstormed my first session on my first book. And I wrote about a character named Robert that relates to me and a lot of the struggles that I deal with as a man in his 30s. Especially in a crazed world where your mind can just drift all over the place because of a plethora of distractions that go on daily. Now, if I ever become a best-selling author or I start getting recognized for my work and what I'm doing, that's when people will start saying that I'm successful. It's funny how life works and how the world manages to program and train your mind to think and define success as awards, accolades, being on a television screen, being heard behind a microphone. Like I said, everyone has their own definition of success. And I've just learned and realized that I don't need a huge house, expensive cars, and lavish things to show off to the world. I'm already successful. I just have a bigger goal of having millions of people reading my books and being impacted by my words. I just want to travel the world and experience different cultures in a nutshell. Now, hopefully I'll get to do that with someone special in my life, and it'll be an endless adventure of excitement and fun. But, hey, time will tell, right? As mentally draining as this process is for me, it's all worth it in the end. I would rather be focused on the journey every day instead of just some days. Now, like I said, having a full-time job, it cuts into a lot of what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish, but guess what? You're listening to this podcast after me working pretty much a 9-hour day. So that's the reality of it. It doesn't stop me, it just slows me up a little bit. I lose a few hours a week, but guess what? To have 3-day weekends, I count my blessings. So out of 168 hours a week, I kind of gauged about 55 of them I lose. So it's not that bad, but I would love to have those 55 hours. Now, eventually I'll figure out how I can focus on my writing more and less on things that really don't matter to me. And that's kind of what I'm working on right now from a mental standpoint. The one thing I will say is to not let society determine what you think success is. Stay humble in the process and know that most people don't care about the behind the scenes work and they will only care about when the lights are shining on you. Not many will walk with you through the dark tunnel. I'm going to say that one more time. Most people are not going to walk with you through that dark tunnel. I've been in a dark tunnel for over 5 years of publishing books, doing podcasts, and everything else. You know what's funny? I tell people what I'm working on and what I'm doing. The reason why is because when all of this takes off, whenever that time comes as far as everybody recognizing me for all my writing, it just won't be a surprise to people. It'll just be like, oh, all of those things he mentioned to me, or oh, that one conversation that I had with Jamel, and he did tell me about that book. Oh my God. Okay, he's really doing it. You see what I'm saying? But what I will say is if you're on a journey similar to mine, stay focused and take the mental breaks when you need to, because I've been doing a lot more of that. So that's my podcast for today. I will continually tell you guys to find your own success, to find your own life, and continue to do what makes you happy, not what makes others happy. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.